You got this.
Ah, okay.
Woohoo! We're live. Hello, Substack family. Welcome, everybody. I am here with Sherry, and we just wanted to come on here. And honestly, this is something Sherry and I do in private.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for the last couple of weeks, and we thought, why don't we bring it to the Substack community and just have some conversation
Yeah.
and chat with you guys? So, hey, Sam, we're going to just chat. And if you guys have any questions or you want to add something, please drop them in the comments, in the chat box, and we'll answer your questions or even, get you involved in the conversation too. So, Sherry, thank you for agreeing to this. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Becky. I love doing anything with you. Our conversation are it's like you said, we already do this offline. It's just, the friendship is there, but I really putting my face on the camera, but who else am you? My favorite people.
Yeah, I mean it's this is a new thing, and then for us on Substack, I feel like I've known you guys for so much, even Sherry, and seeing our faces adds a different level, I think, to our writing, right? Because as writers, we tend to hide behind the word.
Oh, 100%. Man, that's like my safe place. But you know what's so funny? Even though I hide behind the word, I'm probably my worst critic. And, you know, it's like you have this whole conversation with yourself as you're trying to write, beating yourself up and criticizing and all the things. So it's nice to have community
Hmm.
and to kind of work all that, brain craziness with someone else who gets it.
Yeah, and
So,
it's definitely one of those things. And I think for you, what one thing I know, like last week we kind of talked about this, and I kind of wanted to touch base with it this week, is simply like your book, right?
yeah.
Excited. Congratulations. For all of those that don't know, Sherry released her first book. So that's a huge step, something I'm still working on and haven't quite got myself there.
Which you will. I'm going to be on you, but you will.
But the topic of it, I wanted to ask you this because I've thought about this, is did the topic of it, what made you hesitate in releasing it until now?
Oh my God. That's a good question. Thank you for that.
Let's just
You're
jump in.
a deep dive. That's just deep on going in. Um, you know, I think it's just, you never, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I There's such a deep, embedded part of me that just never feels that is good enough.
Mhm.
And, you know, I started the book 5 years ago in 2020, finished it 4 years ago, sat on it for a year and a half.
Mm.
Because for one thing, I'm just in my head. It's like, okay, now I have to put it out into the world. I don't even know how to put it out into the world. Like, I thought writing was daunting, you know, getting it out there. I don't know how to do Amazon. I don't know how to, like, making mistakes. You're just in your head and you get to the point where you just freeze up. And I guess I froze up for a year because of not knowing how. And the thing that changed it is being on Substack and seeing other people just like me,
Mhm.
you know, writing it's kind of like where you're at, Beckett. I think you're a lot braver than me, though, actually. But you're gonna for too long. But just seeing other people do it, not knowing how to do it,
Yeah.
I just said to myself, I have to stop this criticizing myself and, this crazy thought that anything has to be perfect.
Mm.
Um, Putting it out into the world and um, the ability of putting something that you poured your heart and soul and tears and all the things into, and then going here, okay, everybody, here I am, right? that was a big fear. And so again, I go back to just watching other people doing it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it scared. I'm just going to do the thing. I'm going to hold myself accountable and then put myself on blast, which I did here in Substack,
Yeah, you did.
December 7th, releasing this book. And then you know what happens, Beckett, and you can speak to the magic. It was once I made that decision, it's like everything opened up.
Yep.
The support for the people that knew how to do the thing that I didn't know how to do showed up. And it's like they had always been there. And it's been, just having that support ever since. So, but speaking to the magic, that's something I love about you. I feel have you, okay, so for me, Beckett, you're someone that to me, a friend of mine, Sam is on here. She calls it following the nudge.
Mm, yeah.
And do you feel like you've always been someone, because I know you write Quantum Nomad and then you have your comic book, and there's just so much creativity that pours out of you. I'm just blown away by your creative genius. Like I just feel that way. But have you always been like that? Have you always kind of led that way? Is that a natural thing, or you
I
try?
would say, I've always been creative. I went to college to work in the film industry. That was my goal, was to
Wow.
work in feature films and be an
Yeah.
editor. And I liked how you could take image and sound and
Mm.
script and just hit people in such a profound way in the heart. And
Hmm.
then I got into the industry and realized it's nothing like that. And
Oh, really?
yeah, I worked in the industry for 7 years on some major feature films, and I was at a point in my career where they were grooming me, so it's like, you kind of figure out where you're gonna go and to be a producer. And so it came to the point where I was gonna have to move to New York or LA, and honestly, I didn't like the person you had to be to produce films.
Okay,
Yeah,
you have my
it's just the seedy side. I think we've seen a lot come out the last few years in the film industry, and having been over there. Now, there's amazing things that happened. I have amazing friends who still work in the industry. I met some amazing people. I got to work on films like The Patriot and Shallow Hal and Yaya Sisterhood and lots of
wow.
commercials and made for TV movies. And I learned a lot, but it was a point for me where I was like, okay, I don't want to be this person that has to do these things to make these movies. This isn't what I thought the dream was. And so it was kind of one of those moments where you get your dream and you go, okay, I did it. Right. To
Wow.
work in the feature film industry and living in North Carolina and how that all happened, I could probably write something about that. I never really have. Led me there. And then I went, this wasn't the dream. This isn't what I thought this was. And I had to pivot. And so I got
Mhm.
into marketing and went to honestly, what happened was a friend of mine was in marketing, event marketing, and wanted to get in the film industry. And I wanted to get out. And we swapped. I hired him on a Kohl's commercial to start being a production assistant. And he still works in the film industry today. He's an audio guy, he works on films. And he recommended me for a marketing manager job that he was up for working at the time. I know, don't judge me. It was for Camel Cigarettes at Verizon Wireless Amphitheater, but it was running their event marketing program. And we literally switched careers. He went,
Wow.
he went on to work in the movies first. It's still now to this day. We're still close friends. And I went and worked in event marketing for 7 years. So I learned about branding and yeah, and how to market. And I traveled around the country for big brands. Like when the Wii came out, I was one of the first people to ever see it. That
Get
was
out
no, it
here.
was. It wasn't created for kids. It was created for adults. And I had to travel to monster truck events.
I cannot see you at a monster.
I had to try out every weekend to a monster truck event and teach grown adults how to play video games.
Other video. Okay, I'm sure in the pivot that was not in your. I was like, okay,
No. No, but to your point, so I worked for Coca-Cola, I worked for Anheuser-Busch, and I learned a lot about marketing and branding and right and I was always out among the people. I had some amazing time. Honestly, that was the best fun job I ever had. I got to do some crazy fun things and give away crazy stuff for free. It was just a blast. And I
Wow.
made really good money and I got to travel the country and it was no, it was never on my chart and I never thought I would end up doing that, but looking back to your question, after my brain injury, I've always wanted to do films. I've always been an artist. I'm great at photography. I got into podcasting. It was like, I like the arts. That's
Yeah.
just who I am.
Yeah. I mean, I am the same. I grew up watching, all the musicals and, West Side Story was my jam. It's like every year that came out, I love the Broadway shows. I love, and, I think that's why I love the Substack community so much
Mhm.
because you really are around artists and
Yeah.
we talk to each other and we actually communicate with each other. And that's why I was so surprised when you said that when you were doing, the producing, that it wasn't what you thought, because I thought that world is such a collaborative,
Oh, no. No.
community.
No.
And I'm really
No.
surprised that
That world was very cutthroat. I always say if you could I worked in 2 industries. I worked in the movie industry and then working for Camel, right, the cigarette industry at the time. And I said, if you could work in those 2 industries, you could work for anybody because the movie industry, there are no rules. Like I got screamed at because I didn't dial the phone fast enough.
so it's very egos like
Oh, yeah. My friend Dwayne, I remember we were working on a film and he came in and the producer had produced, I'm not going to give any names, Moonstruck, one of them, but this was much later. And he came in and not a nice man at all. And he looked at Dwayne and my friend, Dwayne won't care. He's just like, did I fire you last night? And Dwayne was like, yes, sir. That was the 3rd time this week you fired me. And he's like, okay.
wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no,
You think, because creative to me are the most sensitive souls.
well, it wasn't, when you worked in props or you worked in, any of the teams, the camera department, some of my best friends are still in the film industry and they're like, come back, and I'm like, I can't do 14-hour days. And they're like, it's so different. That is where the creative collaboration comes in. There are some amazing people in the film industry, but when you start getting to the upper echelon, the producers, the executive producers, the directors, that's a whole different world. At least it was when I was in it. And that's where I was headed. You know what I mean? Was to run every department, to run the film. And I had done everything. I had been a script supervisor when I shouldn't have been. I was, doing my first job. I never started as a production assistant on a film. My first job was to do all the clearances on the film, which meant I dealt with the legal department of MGM. So anytime you see like a Coca-Cola can or something that you recognize in a film, it has to be cleared. So, for
Right.
instance, we wanted to put the Titanic poster in a 2-second scene. I had to call Leonardo DiCaprio's agent. I had to call Kate Winslet agent. I had to call the photographer that took it. I had to call all these people and have them,
Hi, Mark.
hey, Mark, um, have them all say yes and send them the screenplay and the script and say, can we use this poster in this scene?
What?
And they could either say yes or no. And if they said no, we had to find something else. So every detail of a film has to be cleared. So I had boxes and I got a ton of swag. I got so much free swag, what they call that. Like I had people sending me back in the day, I'm going to age myself, CDs, boxes of CD cassettes and like DSUs sent me tons of like clothing and stuff like this. Yeah, you get a lot of free stuff because they want it in the movie. They want it in the movie. They want it in
Wow.
the movie. So that was like my first job on a feature film.
That's crazy. It's like people have a story. Like you got a story. Like this is like I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
I,
No, there's a lot of stories from the film industry I
oh,
probably
I'm
haven't shared with anybody.
We may your screen may go black. Well, let me ask you something because, marketing. Um, this is something we were talking about,
Mhm.
eventually when you finish your book and you get to that aspect, that marketing aspect. That's kind of where I'm at right now
Mhm.
and some other people that I know and I see as a artist, as a creative. Now, I used to be a photographer's agent, okay?
Mhm.
So, it is very easy for me to put others forward. Very is if I
Yeah.
believe in work, if I believe in the talent, you are gonna get seen. And he got seen. Like he had the talent, he had the client base. I just had to, you know, do the footwork. I had no problem with that. But as an artist myself, as a writer, it's really hard to put myself forward, to market myself, to say, "Hey," you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like
I do.
it's
I know.
hard to me, but no, look at them. No, but look at me. And how like I know a lot of people on here, I don't know if people are have a book or they're writing a book or whatever it is that they're doing. Like what would you say to people like me and others that just need to you got to market your work. I have a
Marketing, yeah,
agent
yeah.
take me down for my book. I don't have that traditional public. I don't. So I got to do it. So what do you say, Mister? Jo-
Well, marketing's changed a lot since I was there, right? But I learned a lot, and that's why I was saying all these jobs have kind of helped me get to where I am right now. You know what I mean? Like I took skills and understandings from all of them, from being a creative, from being a marketer, and I would say being an artist myself. Artists in general are not good at business, and I
No,
don't mean that to knock artists.
right. No.
I've experienced it with my own artist friends, and I was always very good at both because I understood that if you want to sell your work,
Mm,
you've got to be able to know how to do that and be on a business side. And I understand that some will say, well, it crushes the creativity. And it's like, that is all great. But if you have a studio filled with your paintings or tons and stacks of your books and nobody's reading them, I mean, let's be honest. Like,
right.
well, everybody that knows me and follows knows I'm a pretty honest guy. So I don't mean to offend anybody at all. Just know that getting out there. But let's be honest. We're all on Substack. If you're on Substack and writing versus on Substack and just reading, because there are
Okay.
plenty of people who do that, you
Right.
want people to read your work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on Substack putting it out there. Like I've seen notes where people are like, I don't really care if anybody likes it. It's like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the point. And I think artists are the people, whether you're a writer, a painter, a photographer, a musician, crafter, mix me, I don't care what it is. There's a lot of things fall under art. You're like you said in the beginning, you're giving people your soul and
Yeah.
saying, here's a piece of my soul, now judge it. That takes a certain kind of person to be able to stand out there and do that. And that's why, if you look at history, artists tend to be the ones who change the world in a way and make people see
Wow.
things they don't want to see because they're willing to be so vulnerable. And so, my point to you is marketing now is that it's easier now to market than it was when I was working in event marketing because and this is my personal belief, don't, this isn't any expert advice. With
Yeah.
AI coming on, everything is going to be so perfect
Mm.
that the humanness is what's going to skyrocket. So
Yeah.
everybody's freaking out about AI, and I'm not, because I think you're going to see a new renaissance age come up, and it's going to
Yeah.
be the creator who is vulnerable, has the typos in their writing, who has a painting that isn't exactly perfect, that is willing to come on and market. The only thing to do with marketing now is just be yourself, because that's enough to stand out,
100%.
right? Like that's enough to stand out in a world that's going to have so much perfection,
Yeah.
eventually people are going to get sick of it. Right now, it's the shiny new toy.
Yeah, people want you, and I think that's you nailed it. If we, AI and it's just, listen, I'm not knocking it. It has its, purpose, but I think that people can recognize when something is real and honest and vulnerable and is your story. You don't have to. We're constantly trying to clean ourselves up and present ourselves in this perfect way. Why? Because we don't want to be judged. We want to be accepted. But people, you will really know who are your people, who
Yeah.
truly love you if you are not real and honest and show the messy. And I think that, when you because people want to know that they can relate to you and that you are willing to be seen
Yep.
so that others can feel seen, you know? And I think you nailed it. It's that vulnerability. It's not marketing. That word has such a corporate, bleh,
Yeah.
how do I market myself? We are going to go into the and tie on and we're all going into the room and let's have a meeting about you know and just do the thing and say maybe that is marketing. I'm scared,
Yes.
you know i I before we got on, I was sitting there trying to make videos of myself introducing myself for my Instagram, which you and I I just discovered from you. It's really
It's-
nobody's there. It's me. But anyways, but I was just videoing me introducing myself and saying what my interests were, what my hobbies were, what all the things, so that people can get to know me.
so
And
I would say this, right? And this is something that my guides have been having me practice for months and all the things. And who are you without the labels? You're a writer. That's not who you are. That's what you do. Who
that's
are
right.
you? Who are you? And so when I started Substack, I used notes for people to get to know me.
Right.
That's how I looked at notes. Like, here's my writing, and if you're interested, go read it. But here's my notes, and I'm the guy who likes Legos, and I'm the guy that likes dogs, and I'm the guy that likes beaches, and I'm the, whatever. Here's my cat playing with t-shirt sleeves I cut off because I thought that was fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just a guy like
Mhm.
everybody else. I'm just a person out here doing and have my own interests and quirks. And, I read something years ago when I was trying to learn how to sell my art. And they said people don't buy art because they like the art. They
Right.
buy art because they like the artist.
Yeah.
And so that kind of made me, I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? But I realized that with my own paintings. There was paintings I did and I was like, this is amazing. People will love it. It never sold. Paintings that I was like, this is a piece of crap. This isn't going to sell. People were fighting over it. And what I learned was art is subjective. Just
Mm.
writing is subjective. Not everybody is going to love your work. And I think that's a good thing.
Right. If you're always being like praised, it's such an ego, just feed my ego. I really want to know what people are thinking and I really want to hear. That's why I think like
I
in
do too.
notes, I like notes when people are interactive
Yep. Me
and
too.
or even when they may not agree,
Yep.
and I've had situations where someone will comment in a way that, questions, my personal life, but they're interacting with you. If I
Mhm.
was in with them, you know, what am I going to do? Delete them? You can't. You have to. You have to interact, and there's only limited amounts you can say about yourself in notes to really get the full.
You got to interact. You got to that's why you got to answer the comments and I try to
It,
engage with people and I ask questions cuz I really want to know. right?
Yes,
Yes, I'm here to share my work, but I'm also here to get to know other writers and read their work and get to know the people reading my work. What
exactly.
makes you tick? What is interested in your life? Just because I'm that guy. I mean, I was accused when my grocery store stories notes went off. I can't tell you how many comments were like, "This is an AI story." Oh yeah, okay, well, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, it's not, but okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you over it. If you want to put, then let's face it, there are people who just sit behind the keyboard, just try to type stuff to get a argument going, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
And if you wanna spend your energy, have at it, but I'm not gonna bye, I gotta go. But
Right.
Sam was saying, "Forget labels." That's a message I've been sitting with lately and with Sherry. Yeah, so I love Sam. Hi, my baby. I love her. But we were having a conversation. I told her because you had brought this up, Beckett, about labels. I literally was sitting here and you said that your guides told you this. Maybe they came and whispered in my ear. But I literally was like getting so frustrated with being calling myself a writer
Yeah.
or calling myself anything because I felt like if people ask you what you do, oh yeah, I'm a writer. At one point, and I'll be honest, it gave me a sense of pride. Yeah, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
I mean, but what started happening was I started having this expectation of that title. Like
Mm.
it became this negative pressure. Well, now that you're a writer and you better write good. And then I started comparing myself to writers that don't even write like me. They're like these intelligent like beings that just write amazing. And then I thought, oh well, that's really what a writer is. And I should be like, no, but I'm telling you,
Yeah, I know.
that's where it takes you. At least that's where it took me. And I said to myself, when I started spiraling, because that messes with my, the perfectionist in me and all the things, I said to myself, or the spirit guides or whatever came through, I just wanted to, I'm not a writer. I enjoy writing. And right now in my life, this is what I'm doing right now is writing and I'm enjoying it. And maybe at some point I won't, but I'm not going to lock myself into something, you know, I don't, it doesn't feel free to me. And when I made that decision, I felt so much more like I opened up.
Mhm.
It's like this expansion opened up for me because I felt free to just be me in that space. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense because I mean, and practicing that, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying what you do. But to your point, like I did the same thing too, especially, and I love you too, Sam. I see your message.
Mhm.
um, when the grocery store stories, took off, and they did. They went viral. I had and they do. And I was shocked, just as everybody. I really thought that was the dumbest thing I was ever writing. I thought nobody's going to care.
Wow.
But when they did, it put me in a box, and it was funny because I had a conversation with Michael Thompson, which I don't know if you guys all know. Great guy. He wrote Shy by Design. He's a published author, and him and I talked about that behind the scenes one time for going viral and what does that mean. And what
Mhm.
I've learned is it's not all it's cracked up to be, and he even said that when you see the numbers start to climb, you then put yourself in a box and you think,
Okay.
well, I got to keep writing these stories, right? I got to keep doing these things because this is what the people want, because that's what everybody on Substack and everybody are, do. Look what your audience wants, write for your audience. And I'm like, yes, that is a part of me. And I love those stories and I will put them in a book and put it out. But I don't want
Right.
to be just the grocery store stories guy. That's
Mm,
not who I am. And, that was something that Michael taught me because he said, here's the thing. Yeah, I have this published book, but now I need to be this shy guy and I want to do a children's book or I want to do something else. And I'm
right.
locked into this category. And I never thought about that in writing a book, like you're locked into the category. And I'm like, huh. And so I've learned, to your point, when you can let these labels go and go, was the grocery store stories virality great? Did it launch my Substack? Yes. And I will
Right.
share with you, and I haven't shared this with anybody really. I got up to 6,000 subscribers since I've pivoted and got into more things. To your point, as writers, I think we like to write about all sorts of things. Right
Yeah.
now, what you write about might not be what you want to write about 6 months from now. And as I will say this, what they say about going viral actually hurts you more than it helps you, because yes, it launched me up, but I will say over the last 4 or 5 months, I've lost almost over 1,000 subscribers. And
Okay,
nobody
so
talks about that on Substack.
let's talk about that. Why do you think that that happened?
Because I think people who joined me initially and found me off those stories thought, this is who he is. I'm
This
just
is
going to get all these feel good stories. And then when they started hearing about trance channelings or nature stuff or paintings or my brain injury, whatever I was writing about, it was like, oh, well, this doesn't feel good, or this isn't exactly, you know what I mean? It's like, this isn't what I thought it was. And so that audience then starts to go away, because you realize those aren't your core people. Now, I'm not complaining. I am very blessed. I love my community. I still have plenty of subscribers and all that.
yeah.
And what I have found now, though, that this is more my core group. This is my core readers. These are the core people who really enjoy and engage, and I engage with them. And it's much more fulfilling than the larger numbers, is what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Yeah.
So I had to go through my own labeling of, and scared and scary and going, well, nobody's going to like this, or, and I remember I put out a poll to all my subscribers at that time and said, what are you guys liking? What are you not? What do you want to see different? And honestly, after that poll, and I had a lot of people answer, it was like 300 people. I was surprised. And I went
Yeah.
through every response and I read it all. And what I came away from was everybody was like, just be you, man. Just do you. Just keep writing you, and don't ask us what we want. Just keep writing what you want to write.
Wow. What is it? Somebody said, Melanie says, all your writing appeals to me. All the different topics is what draws me. Thanks for all the unexpected, Beckett. I love it.
Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. And so, because that means a lot. And that's exactly my point. And I was shocked by those poll answers. I was shocked when I actually had somebody say, if you start writing what we want you to write, I'll probably unsubscribe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. But the thing is that okay, so let's talk about the viral. I think that I've noticed on Substack and that a lot of people, we all get, oh my God, my note went viral.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, obviously it's great that more people get their eyes on you and that you get out there and that your work is seen because what's that
Yeah,
going viral means more eyes are on your work, and that's what we want ultimately as writers, is to be seen, for our work to be seen. But at the same time, the danger is that it's almost like a dopamine hit.
it
It's
is.
like that expectation of that happening again, and then when you go from 1,000, right, to 15.
20.
But let's talk about that. There's got to be a healthy way for us to just do the work. If something goes viral,
I
awesome.
think I think it's your mindset before, because it was interesting, because Michael asked me in that, he said when mine went viral, I was
Mm.
counting the numbers. And I had the opposite reaction. When my Substack started to ping off, I didn't know what was happening. Like, I was never shooting for viral. You know what I mean? I was just writing good things that hit my heart, and I thought maybe things will love. But all of a sudden, when my Substack took off, I turned off my notifications. And literally at one point, like, the first viral note got up to 25,000 likes. And I was trying to respond to all the comments. Well, there was almost 1,000 comments. And what I loved was that people were reading other people's comments. So what I loved more about the virality wasn't for me, it was that it brought all these people together and they were
Mhm.
talking to each other and they were
Wow.
sharing intimate human moments. And I honestly, at one point, remember looking at Cassandra going, I wasn't even checking the number. Like it was 10,000, then it was 15,000. And I just would go in like a couple weeks late, like a couple weeks later, and it was at 20. I'm like, when is this going to stop? Like that
Mm,
was my, that was my thinking. So I think it's, what is your intention as a writer and as a person where are you putting your worthy metrics? I
mm,
don't base my writing on my worthy metrics. And this isn't cocky, and please don't take away. I could write another grocery store story, and I guarantee it'll get probably 1,000 likes.
right.
I've done it over and over, not as a formula. They're true stories. They're stuff I enjoy, but I don't do it all the time. And there's a reason I don't do it all the time, because I'm not looking for virality. I'm looking for a core audience that resonates with who I am and my work, and that we resonate together and have a community and support each other and help each other through these crazy times in the world.
Right. Well, what do you think just on that point? Like, I know a lot of people, I've seen people getting frustrated or annoyed by, the guru. This is how you're no viral. This is how, like, all of the knowledge based information, which I understand. Like, some there are incredibly generous and what, like
Mhm.
Claudia, love her
Yeah.
because just so generous in the way that she just shares what she just shares her, and that's what I love about her. But, like, I don't think there's a formula, and people are selling a formula when it's to your
No, because to your
it's
point, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. I didn't
okay.
mean to cut you off. That was rude.
Because I got you excited.
Right, but it's still, I can to your point, I was going against all the gurus when I wrote grocery store stories. And Tom Kugler, which you might know, who he's another one, he
Yeah.
had featured that and said, okay, like, but his notes were going against what everybody else was saying. And the thing is, I wrote those notes out of intuitive hit. I didn't write them out of a formula. When I came to Substack, I wanted to be a good writer again. And that was it. I didn't bring an email list. I know I've shared this before. If some of you heard this, I apologize. I started from scratch. I told none of my friends. I told nobody on my Like, I didn't put it on my YouTube. I didn't put it anywhere. I just wrote. And it took a good 5 months. What my Substack started as changed come December. And by 5 months, I was just sitting here having coffee, and I got that nudge to post that story, that first grocery store story.
Right.
And I did it. And I thought, okay, this is dumb, but I'm going to trust my intuition. And it took off. And
Okay. So just because I don't want to lose my train of thought, I don't want to lose this. To that, what do you say to people? And this is I have been guilty of this. I've been on Substack, I think, 2 years. And I literally came in with nothing, and I have had slow organic growth. Like, ugh, like, but I can tell you, my 393 subscribers have stayed true.
yep.
They are there, and I love them. And it's it's organic growth. It's slow organic growth. But then you see someone come on.
Sorry.
I just joined 2 months ago, and they get like thousands. I mean, it's just. And other people that have been there like me, or maybe 500, and they've been struggling, and they're writing, and they're like, what the how the heck? Like, what the heck, Substack algorithm or whatever? How does someone go viral? And I've been sitting my little butt consistent, not trying to do any tricks up my sleeve, just being honest and vulnerable. And this person comes on one time, shows their face. Hi, just want to. They go viral, get tons of I don't get it. Like,
I
how do
think,
you what would you say to people that, because honestly, but in not to be funny, as well, some people have less Substack
yes.
because they get so discouraged, when they compare, and they just feel like, well, what's the point? What is the point of this if I can't even get any traction? and someone comes on and just blows up. Like, I mean, what would you say to that, Becca? I mean, I don't.
I think it's twofold. It's a great question. And I think, you could say the same thing for YouTube. You could say the same thing for Instagram when it was taking off. You could, say the same thing. You see people on YouTube just blow up. I've been on YouTube forever. Slow, slow, slow podcast. Slow. I think I have like 300. I've been on there for years. You know what I mean? It's a couple years. So I think it's twofold. It's what your soul wants to experience,
What your
your
soul.
journey, where you're meant to go. And I learned something that I don't the guru age I think is ending. It's pick one platform and put your whole heart into it. And when I went into Substack, I got rid of Facebook. I wasn't on Instagram. I literally wasn't even on my YouTube. I just focused on Substack and I just wanted to be good at writing again. And I
Yeah.
think that was it. You know what I mean? My following my intuition always has helped me. It's always led me to
Right.
to where I need to be, and just being good at writing and not caring so much. We've become a society that is so over dopamine hit,
Yeah.
right? The point of writing, even if you have two people reading it, and trust me, I had it was crickets when I, it took me a good 5 months, which to your point isn't long, but it was crickets and I didn't care. I still wrote, and I wrote aggressively. I will say that. I didn't realize that. That's the one thing lately for the unsubscribes is time. I was writing 2 articles a week, and then I created the comic on
Yes.
Sundays in December. So I was putting out 3 pieces of writing every week I never missed a week.
Wow.
And I realize now I'm backing off of that for several reasons. For people who have said, I just don't have time, it's too much. I never thought about that. I did, but I thought I gotta give them good, quality things. And I took all the things I learned as a spiritual coach and I gave all these soul experiments and, a lot of high value that changed a lot of people's lives. And I got great feedback, and it was just, I just wanted to write
Right.
but my writing's changed. Now I'm not doing that anymore. And now I'm talking about channeling and now I'm getting into fiction and now I'm writing more channeled stories and doing other things. And it's like, okay, this is fun. That's lighting me up. And I think
Wow.
as writers, I'll lose some subscribers that way, but I'm slowing down.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the 3 articles a week. I went down to just an article in the comics and now I'm going to go down, and slow it down to give people time to digest the writing, to be there. It's like we don't need more input. We have
Right.
so much. I want you to enjoy the comic. I want you to savor it. I want you to sit with the articles. I want you to dive into the archives and find something new and exciting and maybe listen to something again and it be like a good book. I want my Substack to be like a good book.
I agree with you. It's like you said, there's so much coming at us, every day and I almost feel, you know, I'm going to your friend on there. I think it was Michael. He's in Paris. I'm going to
Yeah.
be in Paris March 31st to April 14th for this writer's residency and I am so looking forward to unplugging.
Yes.
Like seriously, like I feel like because we have so much coming in and we just reading and scrolling and reading scroll, you don't give yourself time. You lose connection with whatever wants to be expressed through you. Like you really don't get to
Yeah.
hear that voice. And I love that you really are thoughtful to your readers because you really do want them to slow down. You really
Yeah.
do want them to enjoy what is being shared. And you can't do that if you're just, you know, constantly being bombarded with information, 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 information. And I also love how honest you are and how much integrity you have towards your, towards your artistry. Like you it's like you said you follow your intuition. And can you like how does that show up for you, Beckett? Is it a thought? Is it a pull? Is it in an inner feeling? Is it a something whispers in your ear? I mean, I don't it- like I
Yeah.
know how my intuition comes. but I don't always trust it, but
Mm-mm.
just flow with that. Like, how does it show up for you?
Well, it's like a muscle for me. I've always known I'm clairsentient. So there's a bunch of I don't know if you guys know. There's like 5 different clairs: clairaudient, clairsentient.
Or
I don't know them all offhand. You usually have two that are your top, and because I'm a very visual person. So like lately, I wrote this thing like my creativity is off the hook. Like it's insane. I've got a surfboard project. I've got, the Substack idea. I've got, it's just like I have so many projects going on in my head right now of like, oh, this would be fun to create or this. Like I can't even. I have to jot them all down. I have a little. Where is it? I carry these little field notebooks.
oh, I love it.
Yeah, I just jot stuff down as it comes and then goes, okay, if 2 weeks from now I'm still excited about that, that's something that probably wants to stay versus,
Right.
oh, that's just a really good idea. Let me go do that right now. Because I think that's the other thing with intuition is just because you get it right now doesn't mean it needs to be created or done right now. There's a divine timing to that. And so, you can sit with it and understand it. And I think it's important because now I've kind of even groomed my own Substack. I don't have the gurus in my field. I changed my, category from philosophy to now fiction and literature. You know what I mean? It's like because I want to read good writers. I want to read people who are writing. I don't want to hear I don't want to know how to become successful. And I've had moderate success on Substack. I wouldn't say I'm the best. There's plenty of people who have way more Substack, success than I have. But I understand I'm also lucky that I have exactly what I have, and I'm grateful for it every day. I have an
Yeah.
amazing community that engages and writes me, and I'm just it's beyond heart touching. I mean, so
Mm,
to your point, I feel it. I get a nudge, and the thing with intuition is the more you go with the nudge, the more
yes.
you follow that, the more you get it. It's like a muscle, like when you're working out. You know what I mean? You can't do one rep and think that's going to strengthen that energetic cord. You know what I mean? Or you can't ignore it and then go, well, I don't have a bicep. I haven't done anything. It's like, you know what I mean? Your
Yeah.
intuition is going to be dropped in, and then if you're not responding, it's like use it or lose it. It's
Well,
always there.
and I think to your point is that we don't use it because of fear. You
Mhm.
know, we don't. We're scared of what is on the other side of that. And,
But to
that
your point, I always say this, like they say, right? It takes just as much energy to doomsday yourself as it does to celebrate yourself. So if I hadn't followed my intuitive hit, never wrote that first grocery store story,
yeah.
half the people on here probably wouldn't even know about me. That was not an intellectual, logical thing. That was an intuitive hit that I made no sense to me. I thought this is a boring little moment. Nobody's going to care, but I'll do it. I'll do it anyways because this is where I'm being guided. And it shifted everything for me. It changed that one moment, changed everything for me. So
Wow.
how can you not do it? Right. So now I do it more because I don't know. I like the possibility of, I don't know how this is going to work out, but it'll be sure a lot of fun to figure it out and see. And if it blows up, well, then I learned something.
Were you scared when you put it out there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was super vulnerable. It was at a time in my life when I was not doing well. And I thought this is way off of what my articles are. You know what I mean? Like this is not what I'm doing, but it's learned me to work that muscle even now with Quantum Nomad. I've shifted, came Quantum Nomad in December. And even that writing, I got into channeling. I was super scared about that. Like I will say, releasing those scared the out of me. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose. Everybody is going to think this guy is crazy. You're going to destroy your Substack. What? I doomsdays myself.
Doomsday.
Right. And that's just because that's innately, I mean, look at our culture and our society. That's where we're taught. Expect the worst. So I have my own mindful moments where I check myself. I go take a walk. I go have some quiet time and say, listen,
Mm,
at the end of the day, you have to be you. And this is you now. And this is what's important and lights you up. And this is what excites you. And you know what? Those who don't resonate with it, that's okay.
right.
We all grow and change. I send you love. I send you all the peace. Enjoy. I understand I'm not your cup of tea anymore. That's okay. Because then new people came in who I am their cup of tea right now.
Right.
And I think that's what we have to learn is the flow.
The flow. And it's funny that you say that because I'm learning a lot from nature, and Sam can, attest to this because she's a what is a forest therapist, right? Sam,
Yeah. Yeah. It's tree
but
hugger.
tree hugger,
And I
yeah.
say that in the best way because I hug trees.
I, I, hey, listen, I've hugged me some trees.
Right.
Like, I'm like, wait a minute now. I'm living in the countryside and I get to look outside and I get to see the ocean and I get to see these beautiful plants and nature and butterflies flying around. And, yesterday our gardener came by and he was pulling up, um, I guess the dead parts of the
Mm,
flower where all the butterflies come. And I started freaking out because he was pulling out the weeds, the good flowers with the bad.
yeah.
That's what I saw,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, "What is he doing?" And then he was I mean, he was just, to me, destroying everything. So I tell my husband, "You need to go speak to him," because I don't speak Spanish, "because he's pulling up the good flowers with the
Yeah.
bad." And he goes, "Honey, I think he knows what he's doing." No, he's I'm not gonna have any butterflies. He's gonna I'm looking at it now, and it looks beautiful, but
Mm,
he had to pull up some of the flowers with the weeds because they were rooted together. So when he pulled them out from the root, that, it's gonna make space for the ones that are thriving to thrive more. More will come, right? In its place. So when you made that decision to pull something that was different and you lost that fear was like I was freaking out, you're taking all the good flowers, you know, that you pulled up, what you thought were, your people. It opened up
mhm.
for this whole new garden to grow. And I wish that we could look at life like nature, that there are seasons, there are weeds that need to be pulled up. And sometimes you're going to pull what looks like, healthy flowers with the weeds, but it's giving space for something new to be created. And as humans, I mean, I think we're nature, right?
Yeah.
We're nature. We have seasons spiritually, that we go through, that if we don't allow those moments, like how you follow your intuition, and we don't allow those seeds to be planted and to trust that there's something great happening, that we really never get to experience, something new and wonderful and beautiful. And I think I'm learning this, Beckett. I am learning that fear kept me from experiencing things.
Mhm.
Had I not just let it happen, I wouldn't have put my book online. I wouldn't have met so many wonderful people. I wouldn't be going to Paris right now. I just wouldn't, because I'd still be holding on
Yeah.
to, that the weeds, because, if you pull me up, I'm going to die, you know. I mean, I don't know. I went on a little bit of a rant, but I just was so inspired by what you said.
Well, no, that's good because, what came to my mind and also to you guys, just if you have questions for us or want to ask us or want to jump into the conversation, please
Yes.
join us. You're welcome. Anybody. When what came to my mind visually when you were talking about the flowers, the good ones with the weeds, is like what a great metaphor for your beliefs.
Mm,
Because your beliefs, are the good flowers. You look at it and go, well, I believe this. But it's like, it's something I used to do with clients when I used to work for them and say, check your beliefs every 6 months. Because as you change, your beliefs should change. And yet
well,
sometimes we follow things and go, well, I believe this. It's like, but do you anymore? Like, is that who you are anymore? Is it a weed that's being hidden by a good flower that really they both just need to kind of go now?
wow.
because something new wants to be born. And I'm always reminded of that. And I think my brain injury really helped me do that and understand that, we're always dying and being reborn. And that was a dramatic way to learn it, but it's constant. And so I allow my writing to do the same thing. And I allow subscribers, I've even had some kindness where people have written and said, sorry, Beckett, my interest has changed. And I'm like, that's great.
Right.
I wish you the best. Good luck. Thank you for being here and spending time with me when you did. You know
Wow.
what I mean? Like I'm just grateful that you were here for the small time. And I think we need each other's unique voices and perspectives and creativity and writing. And, we're not all meant to be New York Times bestsellers, but that doesn't mean that you're not changing someone's life, that you're not making someone's day, that you're not bringing joy into somebody's life, you know what I mean, in some small way. And it doesn't have to be on a grand scale. And one of the things the guide said to me and Cassandra, which really made us think, and you'll find this interesting, I think, was what happens as we go forward and the consciousness is shifting and this whole spiritual community, this whole spiritual subject matter goes away? Who are you then? And we were like, "Ooh, yeah, if you're not looking to heal your wounds and shadow work and ayahuasca and all that," and I'm not knocking any of those. I've been a part of that community. I've done those, but I find myself getting further and further away from that. And it was
Yeah,
interesting that they brought that to us. They were like, if that all goes away, it's not a thing so much anymore. It's not an identity you're identifying or even work. Because I think, people are so, I got to change. I got to fix the shadow. It's like, no, sometimes you're just meant to be perfectly exactly who you are right now.
exactly. No,
When and if that's meant to change, it'll change.
yeah. Well, what Sam says, how do you tell the difference between your guides and intuition?
That's a good question. Um, for
Yeah.
me,
Oh.
For me, intuition is whatever your Claire, your intuitive ability is. So are
Hmm.
you hearing something? Are you smelling something? Do you just know something? Do you see? Everybody has their own clairs. Your guides are when you're taking that quiet time to communicate. You might reach out to your ancestors, the angelic realm, whatever your guides are. Like right now, I know Archangel Michael is a big one for me. I know there's galactic guides I have, and they flow in and out depending where I am. There was a group called the Hathors that were working with me for a while. They've left. Now a new group called Regulus is in. So my point to you is I started communing with my guides through free writing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an easy start for those who have never done it. And for those of you who have, you know what I'm talking about, where you just kind of sit down and you write without thinking.
Yep.
And whatever wants to come through, whatever message comes through. And a lot of time when you do that, you'll look down and be like, oh,
Now, are you asking questions? Because so I do morning pages, and that's just, a subconscious writing, not stopping, just not even, it doesn't have to make any sense. But what you're saying, free writing, are you writing with intention to connect with your guides or it's,
I'm setting up a container to connect with my guides. So when I say setting up a container, for me, it's being outside, being in a quiet space, maybe having some music. The Hertz. I was certified sound healer, so I'm big on sounds and tones and music and all that stuff.
right?
And I'll put those on and just give a moment. It's really meditation to quiet the mind and just drop in. And then I just grab my pen and my paper and I would just start writing whatever came through. Like, no, don't think about it. Don't logically go, this makes no, just write, just allow. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And then eventually beyond that, you can, whatever your clair is, some people hear things. Some
Okay.
people will say, well, I hear this voice, I hear this thing, like, and it's crazy. It's like, no, that's your clairaudient. And I know Karen asked, how do you determine your clairs? If you Google how do you determine your clairs, but one way they had us do it in school was muscle testing. So if you stand straight up outside, feet flat on the ground, and you have the list of clairs in front of you and say, am I clairaudient? And you just stand there, you'll notice your body will either sway forward or backwards.
Oh,
Ever
wow.
so gently. For me, a forward is a yes, backwards for me is a no. So your body will innately know to answer right. So that's kind of a muscle way, easy way to muscle test and just feel your body like gently. Don't even think about it. Just breathe. You'll notice you'll start to lean forward or you'll start to lean back. And what I would do before I started that is ask before you ask about the clairs, what is my yes?
Okay.
Your body will lean forward or back, and what is my no? Because it can be different for everybody.
Right.
It's whatever your energetic frequency. That was the way I learned. I know there's many other ways, and you can look it up and find how do you know your clairs. But I know in school they taught us that everybody has three. You have your strongest or your top two, and your third is probably just starting to come online. Which my third was clairaudient. So, and I am
Can
starting to notice that.
you have all of them? Is it, can you,
You don't typically. I mean, yes, we're capable of having all of them. At this point in time, I don't know if we're quiet enough to listen to all of them. Is the key. So, like you said, people struggle with just the one, right? Like, so if I'm clairsentient, that's a knowing. Like, I just know things. Like, I just do. I remember I had a thing with my roommate. She was struggling, having something she thought we were going to have to move, and I just knew we weren't. And she got frustrated with me. I'm like, we're not moving. And she's like, what do you mean we're not moving? We're gonna have to move. I'm like, we're just not. I just know we're not. And she was like, oh, and we didn't. It all worked out. So there are things that I just know. I just know. I can't tell you how. I can't. The how is never really up to us. I can't tell you the how. I just know. I just know this is the case. And so the more I just trust that, the more it keeps coming through. Like with the grocery store story, post this. I
yeah,
didn't know why. I did had my moment. I thought, well, okay, this is dumb. Nobody's going to care, but I'll do it anyway. And like,
right.
I met one of my readers a couple months ago and we were chatting in the coffee shop and she said, what's the story with the bread? I go, oh my God. The grocery store story with the bread with the one with the sourdough. She said, yeah, that one. I said, she goes, post it. I'm like, why? Like, I hadn't posted a grocery store story in a while. And I was like, okay. I came home. I did it and it took off. You know what I mean? But it just I don't ask for the logical reasoning because sometimes things aren't logical. And I'm learning that now.
Yeah.
There might be a conversation you overhear that something just hits you right. There might be a song that comes on that something just opens something up. Like the other day, I specifically was told, go to Turtle Beach, go to this end of the beach, go sit there and go put yourself in the salt water. And I was like, okay. And so we went, and Cassandra's just like, we'll park right here. I said, no, we need to go down there. She's like, why do we have to go down there? And she's like, go, it has to be there. And what was funny is we went there and there were guys fishing. And the guy started talking about how the shifting sands were changing and he couldn't go out as further as he could to throw his rod because it was getting so deep and the current was so high. Well, that led a puzzle piece to something else for me to understand that led to something else for me to understand. And I had this big epiphany the other day after all the puzzle pieces put together. And I'm like, oh, this is what you're trying to tell me. And what it was the gap of what I want to experience and what I'm allowing in needs to open.
You know, it's so funny that you just said that because I wanted to ask you, when people, and I felt this recently, um, when you feel disconnected
Mhm.
from that heart part of you, um, how would you encourage, like, if anyone is feeling just disconnected from their heart? Like, I feel like I have gone into my head so much that those natural intuitive ways that used to lead me, I have not been able to access. Um, and I think in a lot of ways I closed off from hurt, from friendships that, um, that I thought were gonna be for decades, just so much kind of hurt, and we tend to shut ourselves off, right? Or with
Yeah.
everything going on in the world, the news and the negativity and all the things that people can tend to shut off from their heart so they can't even be led by. You don't even, you're not even hearing from those, the guides, your spirit, your source. I How can, do you have any advice as to how to open up again?
Yeah, two
Two.
things. You got to be mindful of what you're ingesting. I don't
Mm,
watch the news. I got off Facebook because it was super negative.
yeah.
I unfollow, anything that I feel, and I'm open to opposing opinions and people disagreeing with me. That's not what I'm saying. If we can have and there have been people who have disagreed with me, and I've appreciated the conversation on Substack.
Right.
No problem with that. I think it's healthy to hear other people's perspectives, but I
Yeah.
think you have to we were never built to have endless empathy because we never had access to this much of the world. So as much as I may heartbreak for what's going on in certain parts of the world, I can only have so much empathy. And it's funny you asked this because I was just talking to the guy who was installing our cable the other day about this. All I can do is be the best human I am in my community right now.
Mm,
I can care about who's around me. I can care about my neighbors. I can care about the people who I run into out here in this vicinity or where I'm traveling. I doesn't mean I don't care about the rest of the world. I do, but we're not built to have endless empathy. We're just not meant to. So you have to get very mindful about that of where are you putting your time? Where are you being present? And I've been practicing a lot for the last few months of just being present, just being present. I went 2, 3 weeks without writing a note on Substack when my parents were here. I was totally present. I was
wow.
just with them and with my neighbors and with my girlfriend that inspires creativity. It keeps your heart open. And then if you're really finding your heart is disconnected, then go do something for somebody else.
Mm, mm.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like that's where the grocery store stories came from. I was broken and that
Wow.
was my only way to connect was okay, I got to work in this grocery store, but maybe I can connect with these other humans in ways that I need as much as they need because it's
Wow.
a grocery store and there's always humans there and there's always opportunities to put my phone down and talk and say hey. And like when I saw the guy looking at all the bone broth and struggling, I said, dude, you look like you're struggling. And he's like, yeah, man, my I wrote a note about it. He's like, my friend had a bad car accident. I wanted to make him soup. I don't know if any of these are good. And I said, well, I get this one. It's really good. I don't know, might help you. And he gave me a hug. He's like, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Gosh. Oh my God, you're gonna make me emotional because I know I'm serious. I mean, I don't know why I'm gonna cry because, you know, it's I think we all got caught up online
Yeah,
and being in person and having that human connection. I think people are really craving that.
they
It's like
are.
you only have so much access to someone online.
Right.
Like Beck, I know our friendship, you and Cassandra are invited to DR. Like I need to see you in person at some point in time. But
Yes.
that moment, you felt you were going through your own thing, and then that moment you look up and you see another human who is struggling you don't know, and you guys connected over bone broth, you know? You were able to curate empathy, not dopamine empathy, not that, like,
No.
it's not you can't constantly do that. But when you're in person with another human being, and I think that's why a lot of people are going to get offline. We're still going to be on here, but and creating in-person community.
Yeah.
We
That's why I think anything with humans, like if you lead people on hikes, I know I read an article the other day where some of the young adults, this one young adult who's 16 created this successful business by him going out and saying, hire me to come walk with you. And he's
what?
booming. Yes, he's a young adult and all he does is go walk with people. And one thing, and then he's making a lot of money. And it wasn't, it was like, yes, we have to make money to live. So people were like, oh, well, I shouldn't be making. It's like, yeah, we all need money to live, but why can't we make money and help our community and connect and actually, put our phones down and talk to each other and not be afraid to say something to somebody? And you know what I mean? What is wrong with that? Like nothing. We have to get back to that. And it's like even some of my subscribers here I've talked to them in person. I want to go see them I've thought about having a Substack subscriber quantum nomad like let's meet up here in person and talk and chat because that's a human being. Any subscriber I look at, you're a human being and the fact that you want to share your day, your time, your life with me, my writing, that's such a gift. And I think that's what the grocery store stories told me. They took off so much because they were about simple human moments of connection. That's all they
Right.
were. And yet,
We
phew,
Yeah, and then boom, because that's what people want. It's not a phenomenon. It is
no,
just reality. And you helped me remember why I started Contemplative. That was in 2020 when everybody was going through COVID and locked up in their homes and people were experiencing such loneliness and you're dealing with yourself. And I remember having the thought I was going through an existential crisis. Like, I mean, everything that I believed and who I was and what I believed in and all the things, I was literally going down a deep, dark spiral. And I just had this thought of, if I'm feeling this way and thinking these thoughts, I wonder what other women are feeling this way. I need to find them. And just, started that community and it grew, to what it is, it's a private Facebook group. But just to your point is that it's the human connection.
yeah.
It is what makes us compassionate and empathetic. If you are walking in someone's shoes and you're listening to their story and you're being present, I miss that in person because I live in DR. I live in a very small town, and I don't speak the language. And that language can be it can be a smile. It can be, you know, opening the door for somebody that, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be words all the time. But, you just gave me and you just made me open up, even more because it's a remembrance of who we are and why
Well,
we
and it is. And that's the key
yeah,
is we all speak kindness.
yeah, we all speak kindness.
We don't need words for that. And there's a way. Sam, see you later. Melanie, thank you for coming. We appreciate you guys being here. I know we'll
Yeah,
probably be wrapping this up. We went over a little bit of hour, but
yeah, you tell me when we're off, buddy.
yeah, we'll probably finish out in a little bit. So thank you guys for sticking out just because these are our conversations. We get caught up in these things. But back to I think that's the key and that's something I learned. I needed kindness and so I was kind. And I
Wow.
was I was present and those grocery store stories gave me that in return. And so that's just
Mm.
naturally who I am. You can ask Cassandra. We were going somewhere the other day to Alta and I saw this elderly man with a walker, barely moving, like sloth rate, and I watched everybody, I'm like, how's he going to get in this door? And me and one other lady, we both grabbed the door at the same time and we laughed, and he walked through and he thanked her and she looked, we had the same thing. And she goes, we just laughed and gave each other a hug. But everybody else walked around him, even the store workers, nobody, like they're standing right there by the door. Nobody came to open this up. And it's like, that took 2 seconds of my day.
Right.
And I didn't need a thank you. I didn't need him to hug me. I don't care. I made it easier for him to get into that store and another human made it easier for him. And to me, that lit up my whole day.
Right. There's this ancient scripture that says, when you refresh others, you will be refreshed,
Right.
and but I had a question for you before your brain injury. Um, well, actually, that's not the question I have. Do you feel like, and I mean, that's a tragic thing that happened to you, but without the brain injury, do you feel like you would be who you are today?
Those questions are hard. You know what I mean? Because I think
Well, you
my
said that,
brain injury was the greatest blessing of my life.
yeah,
And I
because you
can say that now.
said,
Yeah. I've always been the sensitive person. I love affecting people. I love having people affect me. That's why I wanted to get into the movies. It was like such a mind blowing thing. I remember going to ET and crying my eyes out.
yeah.
My mom's like, "It's just a movie." I was such a kid. And I'm like, "But he's dead." He's dead. It was like I was so upset, that ET was gone. You know what I mean? It was like devastating to me. And I think it's just I've never been one to be a part of groups or cliques in school. I was friends with everybody. I still am friends with everybody. I still have friends that when I was on Facebook say, "You were always so kind to me. You were always nice to me." Like, I just never got it. I never understood why we divide and hate each other or push each other away or, I understand people say some ugly things, and they do. And I think something that really helped me deal with that was when I was getting certified to be a spiritual life coach. One of our professors made us watch a TED talk called Take the Other to Lunch. And then we had to do it. And the woman's TED talk is all about finding someone that you don't agree with, that does not agree with you, and invite them to lunch. Not because you want to understand or mean and convince them to agree with you, but to understand their perspective, their point of view. Where did they come from? What does their culture say? What does their upbringing say? Where did they live? What type of financial status were they? Because all of those things are why people have the perspectives they have. And you may not understand that, and that's okay, but it
Right.
doesn't make them automatically wrong. And that's where I think as humans, we really struggle and we had to learn that as life coach, especially spiritual life coach. Because I remember one of the other exercises was if you have people of two very different religions and their children want to play, but they don't agree with that, how do you bring those families together and understand and honor both their beliefs?
Mm,
And those were real exercises we had to do and understand, because if you're going to go into this is the stuff you're going to run up against, and you've got to be able to honor everybody. And it really shifted my perspective of also being, I've always been in the more smaller group, like the brain injury. I didn't know how do I fit in? Who am I now? Nobody sees
yeah.
me. I'm broken, all the things. I think you just have to understand that we're a beautiful world of different perspectives, and we may not agree with everybody else's. And that's
Right.
okay, because that's what makes the mosaic. We don't have to all think alike and believe the same things, and we're not going to, because we grew up in different cultures, we grew up in different areas, we grew up in different ways. The key is, how can we honor each other without
Yeah.
harming each other,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. And
I'm
yeah.
not
That's
saying that. I'm not saying harm and kill and all that stuff. I'm not saying that. But how do we honor the uniqueness and allow us, which is something my guides have always been working with, is where you guys are going as a collective is, how do I be a me within the we?
yeah. And to be able to respect and, like you said, and honor, it's like to seek to understand, not to be understood, and just be in a place of curiosity of,
Right.
you know, and it takes such a, you know, and I think it just is that vein of fear that people are just afraid. I don't know why we're so afraid of each other. Like,
Well, look at what's out there. Everything tells you to be afraid. Be afraid, be afraid. Everything is division. And that's why the take the other to lunch was, you're going there to understand each other. You're going on there to not agree, but find the humanity and the commonness with each other, and
right.
understand that you have more in common with the humans around you than you don't have in common. You
Mhm.
really do. And I think the grocery store stories showed me that. I was talking to people in Germany, Nigeria, all, who could relate to these stories and sharing and saying, yes, I was a jerk to this barista once and I shouldn't have been. And I went and apologized. We forgot how to talk to each other. We hide behind screens and text messages. And I think that's going to be the skill set that people are going to now have to learn and come home to, because AI is going to push everybody away from that. It's going to make emails automated perfectly. It's going to be able to send, responses, as we can see in customer service, perfectly. We're going to crave human
Uh,
conversation, connection. And so we need to learn how to talk to each other again, how to
you,
disagree without screaming at each other and go, yeah, okay.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you want to, it's like, again, then it goes back to you wanting to be seen. Well,
You have to show up. You have
you
to
have,
be there. And I'm not knocking AI. There, everybody knows I use it for my art. I
yeah,
use it. It's
glad you
great
said that.
tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great tool. And that's how I feel things. It's a tool. That's it. It doesn't create my art. It doesn't write my articles. It doesn't do those things. It's a tool to help with other areas, and we can have new art that we couldn't have before because of it. So there's a lot of, and you got medical, devices that are doing things now where they can detect breast cancer the size of a tiny gram because of AI. So just like everything else, the internet, everybody thought we were all going to die when the internet came out. If we didn't, so it's just human evolution. And I think it's going to be a beautiful thing. And I think Substack allows us, at least for me, I've enjoyed this platform more because I've had real conversations with real people who want to share their real insights. And I don't always agree with everybody, and they don't always agree with me. And yet we still follow each other, and we still laugh, and we still say, yeah, okay, we can agree to disagree, and yet still love you. I still hope you have an amazing day.
Exactly. And you learn so much because it's like you said, on Substack, the people that I've met, n- it's coming from an honest place.
Yes.
They're not trying to be harmful. And sometimes, you know, the content can get lost in the text of message. Yeah. You can't really
You don't hear
communicate
somebody's tone, you can't hear their inflection, and that's something
it
I take into consideration, when people are translating and don't speak English.
right.
It might not translate, and you might think, "Well, that was rude," or that was, but it's like, "Okay, but can you pause and see, was it really rude? Are they just not knowing the right words to describe what they're trying to say?" Like, we have to give each other more grace and compassion and understanding and enjoy the differences.
A hun-
I've learned so much from my Substack readers. Like, I've learned so much, so many things that they've made me go, "Huh, never thought of it that way."
Yeah, I have learned from there's a few women that follow me, and I'll share something about my family or my husband or something like that, and they'll just come in with these drops of wisdom that I'm like, "Oh my god." Thank you so much. Look at it that way. Or someone else comes in with some amazing spiritual advice, when I was struggling and waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Uh, they're a follower of mine and I adore them. Never met them in person, but I've learned so much and I've met such wonderful people like yourself. Uh, Made some friends. It's like, where's my tribe? Oh, there he is. There's Beckett. Thank
Yeah,
there's
so we need to know when you're going, what are you excited most about with this upcoming trip? We'll end on this question. On this upcoming trip, this writer's retreat to France.
what am I looking forward to
Yes,
most?
and what scares you?
Okay. Well, what was scaring me originally was doing it solo because I've never gone abroad by myself and figuring it out. And, oh my God, I'm going to get lost. I'm going to get in that. That was my biggest fear, just going there by myself. But ironically, what I'm looking forward to the most is the unknown, is to be surprised, is to be led, like you were talking about, by the intuition and trusting to go this way, do this. And I'm not having any expectations. I want to be odd. I want to be just open and be surprised at what opens up for me and what shows up. And that's what I'm most excited about is not knowing, you know.
Don't you think experiences like that enrich us as writers?
Uh, that for me is the magic
Yeah.
because I believe there's things in the ethers that is just that we haven't accessed. And I want to be one of the ones that they access. I want to be able to be a channel for that,
Yeah.
to write the stories that were never created. I just want to be open to that. And I know I haven't been in so long, and I believe that this trip for me is the sort of the groundwork for what is going to just be created and what's possible. And
I'm
I'm
so
excited.
excited for you.
Well, I'll be like, I,
You better.
I,
You better
I
be calling me. I'm gonna live through your experience because I think I'm totally excited. I'm stoked. I think this is just gonna be so magical for you, and I think that's something I think if I could share with all of you guys is you don't have to go to France to have
Yes.
these experiences. Go somewhere new in your town. Go check out some new thing you've never seen. Go sit at a different place. You know what I mean? And just listen. And
Yes.
you're just never gonna that to me is where some of my best inspirational ideas come for writing.
Mm.
You know, it's just paying attention. Not that I'm trying to eavesdrop on other people's conversations around me. The fisherman was talking very loud, so just to be clear, I'm not trying to invade anybody's privacy.
You're hilarious.
Well, I mean, just but not, but people do, and it's like, well, say hi to a stranger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just wave, even if they don't, or ask them
Mm.
a question. What excites you today? And see what they say. Because I think if we can get beyond that, that really takes us to a whole new level with our writing and our work and all that thing. So
And connects us.
yeah,
And connect
and that's what we need more than anything.
Beckett Johnson.
I love you, my friend. And all of you guys that stayed on here with me, it's been almost an hour and a half. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm probably going to do more of these. I know I'll have Sherry back on. I know Sherry's playing with going live because I think it's just fun to connect with you guys in a new way. So if you found this helpful or exciting or fun, please let us know. I'd love to hear your feedback because this was a joy as always with you. And I'm just grateful that you guys took the time to spend your day with us. So thank you.
Thank you
Jerry, you
guys.
want to say anything?
No, I just want to say, Beckett, we just need to hear more of you and see more of you. I told you before we got on here, you're a natural. I was like, you have a radio voice, you have a presence. So yeah, this
I,
was fun.
I received the compliments. Thank you,
Okay,
my friend.
there you go. On, onward.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for being here. We send you love.
Love you, Beckett.
Love you, my friend.
Bye.